Hello, welcome to the Peaceful Wood Turner. This is a piece of decorative maple. It was outside of my church. They were cutting pieces down, so I saved it, and it's very dry now. It's very lightweight. I was expecting this to be a lot harder and a lot more dense, but like I said, it's a decorative maple. It's not a regular maple tree. I'm not sure exactly what kind it is. I just know that it's maple based on the leaves and the bark and everything. So I'm going to start by rounding this. As you can see, it's got some high spots on the end, and I've taken off a good bit of stuff, but it's, you know, more of an oval than a circle at the moment. So I'm going to round it down, and then I'm going to just make a little bowl out of it. So I really wanted to put a base on this, but it just chips every time I get close to the edge. So I think I'm going to have to just round it down instead of having it have a little bit of a lip there. So now I'm just going to switch this around onto my chuck, and I'll be able to start hollowing the inside and finish the outside. I'm remounted on my chuck, so I need to smooth this out, and then I'll start hollowing. There's a couple of little inclusions and stuff here that I just need to be careful of, but it should go pretty smoothly. I'm going to keep using my bowl gouge, and I'm going around 900 RPM. So there are a couple spots in here that I have to be careful of. You can see that I'm a little off center for how the wood was growing. So I've got a bit of tear out. I think I'm being a little heavy-handed on my tool, but things are coming out pretty nicely. I can't go a whole lot deeper. I'm just going to take this little nub off, and I'm going to start trying to smooth things out and clean things up. So I reset my angle, obviously, and got a couple of little inclusions and stuff that I have to be kind of careful of, but I just want to try to smooth this out a little bit. I've got a few tool marks here. Once I get that smoothed out, I'm going to start sanding. Alright, I like how that looks. So before I mess anything up, I'm just going to switch over to start sanding. I do have some tool marks, but not as many as I had. All in all, this has come out pretty smooth. And this is probably one of the thinnest wall bowls I've ever made. So I'm really happy about that. So I'm going to start sanding. I'm going to go with a 100 grit. It's probably a little more aggressive than I need, but I've got a couple tool marks that are a little thick, and I just want to make sure that I get them out. And I'm going to be going about 500 RPM. This is a 500 grit with a little bit of mineral oil on it. I'm just going to buff in a little coat of mineral oil. See what kind of color I get in this, just from kind of darkening and bringing out the grain. I didn't get much when I had the mineral oil on the sandpaper, so I'm not expecting much now. But I just wanted to go a little heavier and just see. It's got a real nice golden tone to it, especially in the areas that have a little more figure. That's kind of nice. I'm going to do a couple coats of the mineral oil, buff them in, let them dry, and then I think I'll put a coat of beeswax and linseed oil on. I don't want to put this on too heavy, I want to just put it on lightly, buff it. Alright, going to give that a little bit of time to dry a little bit, and then I'll go with my beeswax and linseed oil. Alright, that's had time to dry, so I'm just going to use my stick of polish here. Excellent. So there's a few coats of the beeswax and linseed oil on here. You can see the color difference between the base that doesn't have as many coats and the sides and interior that have a lot more. And I polished them on with a high friction. I just got the lathe up to a higher speed and put a little pressure on as I was polishing it in. I really like how this turned out. It's got some neat figure to it with all these little bits and pieces that still were working their way through. A lot of swirls and everything else. So I really like it. And yeah, I'm happy. Thank you for joining me on the Peaceful Wood Turner.